no matter how intelligent or articulate they may be, that they simply do not have the words to put this experience into a language that we, who haven't had such an experience, can understand. People say, I just can't describe it to you. Or, there are no words to describe this experience. But nonetheless, of course, they must try. They must try to come up with the closest words that approximate this experience that they can. And here again, we find this same story wide. And that is that people tell us that at this moment when the doctor says they die, when their heart stops beating, when they're no longer breathing, they tell us that they hear the doctor or the nurse or someone else present say, oh my goodness, he's dead, or we've lost her, or words to that effect. And they find at this point that they're astonished and almost amused to hear this, because they say, far from feeling that they are dead, they say that never before in their life have they felt so alive as when the doctor said they were dead. You know, I think it's quite natural for us to imagine that perhaps when we die, it's like a diminishment of consciousness, or the level of consciousness lowers. And perhaps that the state of consciousness we go into that is very chaotic or dreamlike. But that's not true at all. In fact, people say that at this moment in which the doctor says they die, consciousness becomes incredibly more clear and powerful. And far from seeming dreamlike, in that state of consciousness, this state of consciousness that we are now in seems like a dream. They say that as they, from the point of view of this world, that they seem to die, from their point of view, waking up to a new reality. And they say that they feel at this point that they have a sudden and very dramatic change of perspective. And suddenly, from lying there on the table of the operating room or at the scene of the wreckage of an automobile at an accident, that they seem to rise up, and they rise up, their consciousness rises up, and they look down and they see their own physical body on the operating room table or at the scene of the accident. And they say that even though they are out of their physical body and can see their physical body down below, they still feel as though they are in a kind of body they are in now, but nonetheless a vehicle, a body of some sort, which has even a shape and even what you might imagine to be appendages or limbs. And they say that at this point, they can understand perfectly what the doctors and nurses down below to each other. But they say it's not as though they hear it through their ears. It's not an auditory sensation, but rather they become aware of what the doctors and nurses are thinking. It's a heart-to-heart or mind-to-mind communication. But when they try in turn to say something, when they try to ask the doctor, how can it be that I'm out of my body, looking at my body down below, no one seems to be able to hear them. So very often, in order to, confused by this, they try to touch the doctor or nurse to try to get their attention. But they say,